Hi everybody, Steven here. If you want to learn what content library is and how to create published content libraries and how to subscribe to content libraries, stick around. That's what we're going to talk about. See you in a bit. Thanks for sticking around. So why don't we jump right into it? Let me just get my screen over here. Okay, by the way, I normally like to put this out at this point. If this is stuff you're interested in, hey, please subscribe to the channel. Without subscribers, there's no content creators. And also, if you find this entertaining or the slightest bit useful, hit that thumbs up as well, okay? So let's jump right into it. I'm signed into my vSphere environment. Now, what is content library? Well, just like it says, content library, it's a library for various content. What kind of content? It could be like ISO images. It could be like virtual machine templates. It could be like appliances, OVF and OVA appliances. So it's kind of a central spot for you to manage all, I guess you could say, your images. Instead of having, your images all over the place, you could have a central area and everybody knows to go to this area to get that stuff, to get the images, right? So let's go in and create a content library. So right now, I'm just going to go under here under what they call the hamburger menu or whatever, and then I'm basically going to go into content libraries. I'm going to click on that. I don't have any, okay? So I'm going to go in and create one. So let's click on create, and I'm going to give it a name. I'll call it my library. Call it something that makes sense, okay? This is my vCenter server. You can put some notes in here. Probably a good idea to put some notes, my library or YouTube, whatever, okay? And I'm going to click next. Now, we'll cover all this, but this is where you get some choices. Local content library is exactly what it says. It's a library for this vCenter server. That's it, okay? A subscribed content library is one that you subscribe to. Think of it like a subscription to a magazine. The magazine people are making the content and you're subscribing to it, okay? Sort of like you're subscribing to my channel. I'm making the content, I'm publishing the content, and you're subscribing, okay? Same kind of thing. We'll show you an example of that. In order to subscribe to something, it has to be published. So like, again, I create videos. You can't see them. You may be subscribed to it, but you cannot see the videos until I publish it. Same kind of thing here. I'm just going to create a local content library that's only for this vSphere environment. That's it, no other vSphere. And then we'll do the other ones afterwards. So I'm going to say next. Now, this is new. I think this was I think it was 7.0 update 3 or something like that. You can apply a security policy, and then you can specify, do you want to use the OVF default security policy? This you would select if you want to make sure that your appliances, OVF, Open Virtual Format, or OVAs, Open Virtual Appliances, are signed with a trusted certificate. I don't care about that. I'm going to leave this deselected, okay? I'm going to go next. Now it's asking me, where do I want to store my content from my library, right? So my library needs some kind of storage, okay? That kind of makes sense. You're going to store stuff. So it's asking me what data store I want to use for this. So now you're probably going to pick a shared data store so other hosts can see it instead of just a local data store that's only accessible on one ESXi server, okay? So I'm going to pick my shared data store. It shows me the size and what's available. I don't got a whole lot there. And then you click next. And then it says it's ready to complete. And then I click finish. That's it. I just created a content library. Pretty straightforward. Let's go in and add some content to that content library right now, and we'll show you how to use it. Okay, so here we have my content library. So I'm going to click on my content library over here on the link, and then you'll actually show, I can look at the summary. It shows me the summary of various information about the content library, how much storage is taken, how much free space. I don't have anything there. Now notice in here I could click on OVF or OVA appliances and templates. I could put virtual machine templates in here. I can put appliances in here. I don't have anything there, right? I click on other, and notice other, there's nothing in here as well. Now let's add something. So I'm going to click on actions, Now, what I could do actually at this point is I could actually go in and change this library. Let me just go to edit settings really quick, okay? So I'm on my library, edit settings. Remember, I could say I want to do publishing or that security policy. I could change all those things right now. I'm not going to do that. I'll save that later. Let's add something in there. I'm going to go edit. I'm going to import an item. Now, you could import an item from a URL, okay? Maybe you got some kind of repository of ISOs or something like that. You could put that in, or maybe from a local file. So I'm going to do it from my local file, and I'm going to upload a Windows 10 ISO. I'm going to double click on that. Probably should have picked something smaller, but anyways, I'll pick on that. I'll go OK, and then at that point you can give it a notice. It's got an item name there. I could change that item name, and I can make some notes and whatnot. Right. So I'm ready basically to start importing. I'm just going to hit the import button at this point, and you'll actually see. We'll just give it a few seconds to refresh, and you'll actually see. Okay, it's basically going to be importing right now. Let's just do another refresh over here, and let's fire up this. There we go. So notice over here, uploading files to library. I'm at about 12%, 13%. I'm going to speed this up, folks, so you don't have to sit here and watch this. I'll be right back in 2 seconds. Okay, so we're back. It's uploaded, and we basically, I can click on this and pull up some more information on it if I wanted to. Let's go back now. Let me go back into my content libraries here. So if I click on my library, again, you'll see the various, I only got that one ISO there. I could have easily uploaded an appliance, an OVF or an OVA appliance if I had downloaded that. I'm not going to bother doing it because it's the exact same process. Now, how can I take advantage of this? I'm just going to right-click on a host. I could right-click on the cluster or whatever. I'm going to say new virtual machine. Let me pick create new VM. I'll call it VM7, whatever. I'll click next. I'll pick host 1. I'll pick my shared data store. I'll go next. I'll leave that version there. I'll pick Windows here, and I'm going to pick Windows 10 64. That's my ISO that we have. I'll click next. It comes back, it gives me the customized hardware screen, right? Now notice under client device, if I click on this, it'll say content library ISO. So when I select this now, and I pick this and I say OK, and then at that point, I'm done and I'm finished. So right now, that VM, when it powers on, it will connect to the ISO on the content library, and it installs Windows. I'm not going to demo that. I've already created videos on installing Windows inside your VM, so you can go back and watch that. But at that point, I can just power that on, and away I go with the operating system install. Okay, let me just right-click and delete this from disk. I don't want it wasting space. And there's other stuff that we can do with content library. Let me just clean this up. So as I mentioned, there's other stuff that we can do with content library. Let's go back into content library. Now, I'll just say create a new one here. I'll give it a name, but whatever I want. I'll go next. Remember, enable publishing. Okay, I can make this able to be published, and then somebody can subscribe to it. So why don't we do that? I could create a new one here. I could also enable authentication. They need to provide a password to that. Okay, let's cancel this. Let's modify the existing one that I have. Let's cancel this. Let's go into my library. I'll go to Actions, Edit Settings. I'm going to say Enable Publishing, and I'm going to put in Enable Authentication. And my password here, I think is VMware1 exclamation point. Bang. That's fine. And then here's the link that I need to copy and give to somebody and say, here's the link for you to connect to this. And by the way, here's the password. Okay. I'm going to say OK. And at that point, that library is now published. Another vCenter environment can go in and actually connect to that. Let's try that out. Let's see if I've got my vCenter going here. Let me go to my site B. So site B dash vCenter server appliance dash o1.vclass.local. Enter. So there's my site B. Let me log in to that. So this is a completely separate vCenter environment. Oh, let's go back into inventory here. Okay, this is a completely separate vCenter environment. I'll go into the hamburger menu. I hate calling it that, but anyways, then I'll go to the main menu. I'll go to content libraries, and I don't have any. Let me create one, and I'll call this one subscribed from site A, whatever. Okay, and this is for my vCenter site B, SB vCenter site A, right? Sorry, SB site B vCenter server appliance 01. Okay, so this is a completely different site. And I go next. Now over here I go to subscribe library, and then let me go back into here. I can't remember if I copied this. I got to go into my library here. Let's edit. I got to copy that link. Let's go back to this guy. Let's paste in the link. I'm going to enable authentication because I basically, when I published it, I said use a password, so I have to specify a password here when I'm paying. Now over here, download content. I can say download it immediately. So whatever content's on that content library on site A, it's going to get dumped across the wire to site B. Now if I click on that, it's going to probably clog up a little bit of my network stuff here. Or I can say when needed. At that point, so you got to ask yourself, do I need everything from site A, or maybe I just need a few things? So at that point, maybe just say when needed. I'm going to say when needed. I don't want it clogging up my network right now. So I'll go next. There's a key. Now it's asking me, okay, you need to specify data store on site B now, right? So I'll go shared, site B shared data store, and I go finished. And then I'm not going to save that. There, at that point, so it's syncing the library. Notice it was really fast down there at the bottom. It was syncing because I didn't say download. Now, let's go into inventory here, and let's right-click on this and say, actually, we don't even have to do that. Let's. I don't have any VMs. Let's say new virtual machine. Okay. Whatever. Oh, it's not in DRS mode. Sorry. Okay. Compute cluster. Oh, sorry, I'm clicking too fast. I don't have DRS set up on that one, so there's the data store where I'm gonna put it. Okay, whatever version, and then this will be Windows 10 64. Let's go to CD-ROM, content library ISO. Boom, right? So I select that. So you see that I now have that. Now the only thing is though, as soon as I say okay and I go to power on this, it's going to need that. It's going to start downloading that across the wire. Then once it's available here, it doesn't need to do that anymore. I'm not going to bother doing that. I'm going to cancel that. Okay, so that's kind of the cool thing. Now, I don't have my site set up in link mode or anything like that, or enhanced link mode. Okay, both of these are two separate single sign-on domains, so it's actually using HTTPS to do the copy across. Maybe not the most efficient. If you have multiple vCenter servers and they're in enhanced link mode, it uses a network file copy, which is apparently more efficient. If by chance, notice I put my content library on site B on this data store, site B data store shared, right? I put it on there. If that volume on site B and the volume on site A were on the same storage array, so the same physical storage array, which it could be inside the same data center, right? If they're on the same storage array, we could use the copy functions, or hardware acceleration, the VAAI, vSphere APIs for array integrations. In other words, vSphere would tell, hey, storage, copy data from LUN1 to LUN2, let's say. Okay, so it's done in hardware, and your host doesn't have to do it, or it doesn't have to go across the physical network, let's say, right? So there's a couple of options there as well. Okay. Another thing we could do is for templates. Let me go back to my inventory here. Let me get out of site B. I don't care about site B anymore. Let's go into my inventory. I'm in my virtual machines and templates view. I actually got a template there called VM1. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say clone to library. Okay, and I'm going to pick my library over here, and I'll call it whatever, VM1 content library template. Right? I could preserve the MAC address on network adapters. I'm not sure why you would do that, to be honest with you. And I could also include extra configuration. This is mainly for like an appliance type of thing, right? Notice I can clone this as a new template or update an existing one. Maybe there's one there, I just want to update it. I could do that. I don't have anything. I'm just going to say OK. Now, we'll give it a few seconds here. It's going to probably take a little bit more than a few seconds. So it's actually uploading the files to the content library, right? Notice it's an export OVF appliance, uploading files to the library, right? And we'll give that a few seconds longer, right? I'll probably speed this up maybe a bit. That looks like I don't have to. I just, boom, there we go. So let me go back to my summary page here. Let's go back to versioning. Yeah, so let's go back into my content library. So inside content library here, and if I click on my content library, you'll see under OVF. So there's my VM1 template. Let's click on it. And then from here, you can pull up more information on it if you want to. You notice it's only like about, whatever, 6.77 kilobytes of storage. Gives you various information about the hardware there. Let's go under actions here, and I can say new VM from this template. And I can actually deploy it from there if I want to. I'm not going to do that. Let me cancel. Let me go back into my inventory here. Let's go into my data center, right click. I'll say new virtual machine, and I can say do it from a template, and I'll click next. And then right here under OVF OVA templates, this is the one that I created. All right. So basically, when I cloned that template, it made an appliance in content library, and I could utilize that to deploy from. I still have the original template around. I could actually deploy from that if I wanted to, right? I'm not going to do that. You basically walk yourself through it. I'll probably do a video on creating templates and stuff, but for the most part, that's pretty straightforward. One last thing I want to show you is versioning on templates, right? Let's pick a VM here. Let me pick a VM here, and let's right click on it, and let's say clone VM, clone as a template in a library, and I'll call this so type, I'm going to leave it as a template and not an appliance, okay? And I'm going to say this is clone template, whatever. Give it a name that makes sense in your data center. I'll click next. I'll put it in this library. I'll click next. Hopefully I get enough space. I'll pick the cluster one here. Next. There's my storage. Next. And at that point, ready to compute. Okay. So it's going to clone that. It might take a few minutes. So I'll probably speed this up so you don't have to sit there and wait. Oh, look at that. It was like 40% right off the bat. Cloning. Give it a few more seconds. Let's see what happens. So I'll probably speed this up. Okay, we're back. So you'll see I've got clone template here. If I click on versioning, you'll actually see now in content library, I can manage revisioning or versioning of this template, right? So I'll click on check out from this template. And at that point, I can give the VM a name. I'll call it whatever, clone-2, whatever. Pick my data center, I'll go next. My cluster, I'll pick next, and I'll click on next. Now at that point, we'll give it a few seconds. It's checking out the VM. All right, that shouldn't take too long. We'll give it a few more seconds here. Boom, away we go. And you can actually now see I got my clone template and I got clone 2, right? Um, and I can now actually make changes to that. So here is clone 2. Now notice the icon, it's a little different. There's a little blue dot there showing you that it's been checked out by content library. Sorry, my dog's whining. Now you could power this on if you wanted to, right? Apply patches, upgrades, whatever you got to do, right? I'm just going to do, I could actually go in and go edit settings, and then I'm going to maybe decrease it by 1 processor, and I'll say okay, right? Now if I go back into clone template, if I go back into versioning, I could check it back in, and I can make my available notes. So I'll say check in, I'll say available notes, 1 second. Sorry, my dog wants attention. Reduced CPU to 1, whatever. I'll check it in, and then we give it a few seconds here. Like I said, I don't have the snappiest environment here, right? But again, the idea here is you could actually check it out, apply your updates, security patches, whatever you got to do to it, make any changes, that type of thing, and then you check it back in. So this is kind of a relatively newish feature of content library to allow you to do your versioning and of your templates here. So I cloned my VM to a template in content library, and I actually see it as a template within vSphere as well. So this actually might take a little bit of time. We'll give it a few seconds. I'll probably speed this up. Okay, we're back. So let me click on this, and you can actually now see it was called clone template 2, now clone template 3, and I reduced the CPU to 1. I'm not a big fan of it renaming a lot of this stuff, but whatever. I guess it is what it is, right? But again, it's another way for you to sorry, just wanted to make sure I was recording. It's another way for you to manage your templates or revision of your templates and stuff. You can see that note that I put there. And again, you could check it out and whatever. I think that's about it for this video. Hey, thanks for sticking around and watching it to the end. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And if you have subscribed to the channel, I really, really appreciate it. We already hit our 500 mark, which is great. I want to hit 1,000 or more, right? But again, thanks again, folks. Hit that thumbs up if you found this entertaining or just a little bit helpful. Leave comments below on anything that you do in Content Library or something you may see or want to see. I do have limited resources, so I get back to everybody that leaves comments. And if there's something you want to see or have me do or whatever, please feel free to leave that below. But thanks again. Have a great day. Bye now.